The old Lakota was wise. He knew that man's heart away from nature becomes hard. He knew that lack of respect for growing, living things soon led to lack of respect for humans too. Chief Luther Standing Bear, Land of the Spotted Eagle. Like many travellers, I have over the years amassed an eclectic collection of mementos, reminders of people, places, and experiences lived. There is, for example, a representation of a honey ant, hand-moulded in Spinifex resin by an elderly Pitandara Aboriginal woman. We had travelled in the desert together collecting honey ants and witchetty grubs. Her dreaming was honey ant, so she had a special connection with and duty of care for honey ants. In an extraordinary gesture of friendship, she had etched her true Aboriginal name into the figurine with a hot wire. When she gave it to me, she pressed it deeply into my hand. It was a gift to remind me always of her and the journey we had made together. Not surprisingly, I have never forgotten. There are many other items, such as a pierre noire, the fabled African black stone, a traditional treatment for venomous snake bites, or shoes woven from lime bark by a Belarusian man. Each item has a story. Each item stirs an emotion. But of all these personal treasures, my favourite is a plaster cast of a grey wolf footprint. I made it while tracking wolves in the Sawtooth Mountains for an ITV documentary. Humble as it is, that plaster cast and its story is the inspiration for this book. Canis lupus, the grey wolf, is an adaptable creature able to live in a wide variety of habitats, from the barren Arctic tundra through the great boreal forest, the diminishing broad-leaved woodlands and prairie grasslands, to the forbidding desert. The wolf once ranged across most of the North American continent. While the species has always persisted in Canada, within the United States the grey wolf was effectively eradicated from the country by the westward expansion of the population during the 19th century and the years which followed. Manifest Destiny, for the fledgling American nation, spelled merciless doom for the American grey wolf. Today, though, through the reintroduction efforts of conservationists, grey wolves have established populations in northern Wisconsin, northern Michigan, northern Minnesota, western Montana, the Yellowstone area of Wyoming, Idaho, Washington State, and Alaska. And in southwest New Mexico and eastern Arizona, a Mexican subspecies of the grey wolf was reintroduced to protected parkland. Successful reintroductions, however, as I would find out, are not always welcomed. My wolf track is from the Sawtooth Mountains of central Idaho. In 1995, 15 grey wolves were released, followed the next year by another 20. While no one knew at the time whether or not the reintroduction would prove successful, the painstaking work of the biologists paid off. When I cast my track in 2009, the population stood at more than 800 wolves. In fact, so well had the population recovered that in just a few days the wolf was to lose its protected status in Idaho and licensed wolf hunting would be permitted. It was an interesting time to be in Idaho. Tensions were high. On one side stood the federally backed conservationists, on the other a powerful local lobby of hunters and ranchers who were complaining that the wolves threatened their livelihoods and way of life. Both sides had valid arguments, which they expounded with heartfelt passion, while in between, as is so often the case, the wolves stood in the dock under sentence of death, oblivious to the human debate, simply living according to their nature. Here was an experiment at the frontier of rewilding, teetering on a knife edge. What I found most alarming, though, was the widespread, profound hatred towards the wolf I encountered. A hatred fueled and fanned by the malicious lies and anti-wolf propaganda touted by extremists, heating emotions to boiling point while making no sensible contribution to the debate. So frenzied was the atmosphere that there was a belief that wolves were everywhere and that the community was under siege. It was a bizarre and ridiculous situation.